All right, it is Monday afternoon, or I should say Monday evening now, for March 20th, and I am doing a drive from my gym here off of West 7th Street in St. Paul to my house in Northeast Minneapolis. So this will be my first time taking this route with Beta 11.3.2. I previously did this drive with 11.3.1 a few times, had some pretty good success with it. Many areas of improvement along the way. A little bit of slowing there, interesting. And you can see it picked up that car in the distance. But anyways, this route's been pretty good so far with the 11.3 build so far. 11.1. And good job there stopping for that yellow light. I think previously the car might have tried to go for it, but with the recent changes due to the NHTSA recall, it sounds like they're making that a little more cautious, so I'm perfectly fine with that. We had still a good amount of distance to slow down, and it still wasn't abrupt, but this route, there was a couple problem areas along the way with the previous 69.25 builds, and even just the 10x builds in general, that 11 is much better at, so we'll call those out kind of along the way, and look for any potential regression areas compared to 3.1, which was honestly pretty darn close to being near perfect on this route. For what this functionality provides right now, it's been pretty promising so far overall. I know some folks have had some weird behavior with 11.3.2, with some navigation issues where the car kind of loses where it is and just kind of doesn't know where to go. Hit that one yesterday. I know a few others hit that as well, but otherwise, honestly, I've had some really good drives. Had 3 zero disengagement drives yesterday. Each was about 10-15 minute drives, not too long, but still really good behavior overall. So I always get nervous when the car is really confident like it's been. I mean, it's never been this confident in all the 10.x builds. I just worry as Tesla tunes it that they make it too conservative and kind of go back to where 10.x ended up, which in my opinion was too hesitant in a lot of areas with city driving. But man, the highway code has been really, really good so far, so hopefully we'll see some more of that here along this route. A little bit of hesitation around this car here that kind of is taking up 2 lanes here. I know there's not a lot of room because of the snow that's kind of protruding onto the road, but I will say the car does a really good job in tight spaces, which unfortunately we've had more of this winter because of all the snow we've gotten. So stopping a little short here because this trailer's sticking out. This is an area where I would wish it would kind of slide in a bit more. We do have ample amounts of room, so it still seems the spatial awareness is a little too cautious, especially when traffic is slow. I would say below 5 miles an hour, I wish the car would be a little more aggressive, because stopping back there may surprise folks when there's a gap as big as it was there. So okay, interesting. So, and that was very bizarre. That was interesting. So I was about to say that we were going to use the left lane there. I'm going to be reporting that for sure. That was very abrupt. Not a fan of that behavior. In the 11.3.1, the car was doing a pretty consistent job after the first drive of using that left lane there instead of the far left turn lane instead of this one. And you can see again here, it continues to try to use that cross back over the other lane. And that's behavior I've seen a couple times now. So it still seems to lose track of where it's at. I'd honestly prefer it to take the inside turn lane there, just because of the fact it avoids issues like the one we just experienced. But in most of my drives with 11.3.1, it stayed to the far left and used the far left turn lane. And that usually netted us pretty good results where I didn't have to do anything. The car stayed in the proper lane after it made the turn and everything was good. But as you see there, not really good behavior. So 2 spots there. I should have probably disengaged the first time. We had nobody really too close behind us with that first one there. But man, that second one was not great either. So room for improvement, no doubt. But really good behavior compared to the 10.69 builds and just 10 in general. The car has never handled this on-ramp as well as it has in version 11. I don't have to babysit the throttle at all. The car, I increased the speed a little bit, but the throttle inputs remain smooth and confident. It stays to the inside for the most part, unlike before, and it just navigates that section, those sweeping corners that are a bit wider, much better than it ever has before. And then really good behavior there. We get kind of, this guy in front of us kind of made a lane change there, and then the car to our right kind of slowed down a little bit because of traffic in front. We did a good job of committing to that lane change there and not going back and forth, so that was good there. FSD does a great job of continuing, at least with 11.3.1 and .2. The behavior is as better as it's ever been in that section right there. It's kind of a blind corner around the hill there as you come around the bend, and it does a fantastic job, 11.3.1 and .2, of staying to the right side, and then as you can kind of come over the hill, then it transitions to the left side, and it does it very smoothly, just like I would do if I was driving. Excellent behavior. And then, you know, the merge behavior still, it's very much a starting point where it's at now. I'm looking forward to some better improvements with that, where we use the signal like we should be doing, and we don't wait till the merge point. We try to get over as soon as possible into the proper lane. So those are things I'm hoping that we'll see in, you know, a future minor release of version 11. I'm going to signal to get over to the right here, let this person by me, but you know, one thing I hope that Tesla adds at some point to the single stack FSD is at least on the freeway to have an option to exit the passing lane. We definitely had that in Navigate and Autopilot. Obviously the lane change functionality was pretty primitive back at the legacy Nav and Autopilot stack. It was too hesitant to make lane changes, but the idea was right. And then after you make a speed-based lane change or whatever, you get over back to the right lane just to make room for traffic and be a good steward of the road. So that's something I hope becomes a setting at some point in a future build, but not there today. So to kind of avoid camping in the left lane, I've been using just the turn signal to get over to the other lane, get out of there if it becomes a problem. I just disengaged there. Some part just fell off that truck ahead of us there. I don't know if you can see that scooting across the lane, but I unfortunately hit the car in front of us there. I definitely did not want any part of that hitting my car. So not a disengagement there related to Autopilot, just somebody's vehicle that had a lot of rust on it that was shedding parts on the interstate there. Not ideal, but that happens. I'll have to go back and see if in the visualizations if it actually rendered that or not. It does here. Alright, good job. Plenty of room to get over. That was good behavior there. Always makes me a little nervous when we're getting close to the exit and we're not over in our final lane yet, but the auto lane change functionality continues to do a pretty darn good job compared to Navigate and Autopilot. Way less hesitant than what we saw previously. And the behavior when we just decelerate off the freeway is also much improved, and that continues to be the case with 11.3.2. It was very, very good in .1, and .2 seems identical in that department. I'm having to do far less throttle interventions when exiting the freeway now. Before we'd go too slow. It would be very robotic in how it would slow down. So this, I think, is definitely maybe an example of the new neural net-based vehicle control logic versus before it was, again, maybe robotic because it was like traditional C++ code, which would make a lot of sense, where it would drop the speed in increments of like 5 pretty abruptly, and it was kind of jarring for the passengers as well as surrounding traffic. So it's definitely much more human-like now in version 11. Good job staying to the right there versus cutting in too early with that car that was approaching there in the oncoming lane. Great behavior. That was awesome. And very consistent with what I saw with 11.3.2, when vehicles are cutting out of our lane and exiting the road, we still are, I would say, a little too we slow down way too early. You know, and maybe it's just more of it's too abrupt, but I'm fine with it slowing a little bit at a distance. But you can see we were like 100 feet from that car that was clearly exiting and mostly out of our lane. I could understand slowing a little bit, but it seems like that needs to be tuned a little bit. I know it's a minor nitpick, but still. If it was me driving, I would let the car be maintaining the previous speed until we got maybe another 50 feet closer or so. Or just maybe slow down, but slow down a little bit less than we are now. Good job not coming to a complete stop there, waiting for that car to turn. We kind of rolled and creeped forward a little bit, gave that person space, but didn't jam on the brakes like I kind of be used to with previous builds. So, you know, dealing with surrounding traffic is definitely, I would say, in general, much better in 11.3 so far. Obviously, room for improvement, no doubt, but I've noticed an improvement there. The car is just overall more confident in pretty much all aspects of what I can tell so far. So I faked out the navigation. I don't want to keep going on this road because there's so many potholes. So we're going to exit here, and then we're going to go a different way. Basically through a neighborhood, just to kind of avoid some of the potholes. Great job with that behavior there. And because of the navigation, I have to kind of trick it. As soon as we make a right turn here, I might have to press the throttle just to keep it going, because I set a waypoint on this corner house here. And I'm going to basically kill the nav now, and then just press the accelerator here to keep going, and then it should continue forward here. So excellent. And then I'm going to let it go straight just without any nav, because it will try to route me back to my house a goofy way, and I kind of want to go through this neighborhood. The road's way nicer, and I'm not in a hurry. So, and honestly, I think this neighborhood proposes some interesting clearance, situations too, because of the snow and the parked cars. It gets really tight up here, so I figured it's a little more exciting to test FSD down here than, on the main road, which is just a straight shot, unfortunately, with lots of potholes. And then as you can see to our right, it's pretty poor visibility. The snowbanks occlude most of the right lane there, so you can't really see anything. So I'm not a fan of that behavior right there, where it's like going back and forth. So I'm going to report that. The car definitely has to cut out. Doing a good job here though. I like this behavior. Okay, so now we're clear. I'm going to press the throttle and see if it will go forward now. It did the right thing. I don't know if it's going to go around this car though. Yeah, it's too close now. It won't proceed without me, but car got too close and didn't proceed after it was clear to do so. So disengagement there. For the right behavior though, it did the right thing. I just wish it would have maybe stopped a little sooner. But behind there, though, is kind of what got us into trouble, I think, a little bit too, where, you know, if you're gonna, it's got to commit more, right? I know I've said this build's more confident than 10.x. It is, but you can see back there, there's still some tuning to be done. It does go back and forth between what line it wants to, if it wants to pass or not. I feel like a lot of times it's got to make a call, right? And if not, then slow down a little bit and then just creep forward and then pause if you have to. But pick one, basically, is what I was saying before my camera cut out there. Good job navigating around those folks there. Alright, so I plugged my house in here. Should get us home now. So this part's kind of fun too, because it's a right and then an immediate left. And then again, the snowbanks to our left. They are melting fast, but they are still unfortunately occluding our side vision here. So we have to kind of peek out and then go. And again, we're a little too hesitant here. We're kind of, I mean, we're not in the lane yet, but we had ample room to go, and we just waited too long. And now there's another couple cars coming. So we kind of lost our window there, which is kind of frustrating, but again, I'm not in a hurry. So better safe than sorry. All right. Good job with that. And then we got to swing out here, and we're still, you can see there, I still am not a super big fan of the line selection there. We just get too far out to the right. We should not be using dead space to make that left turn. We have so much room in our lane there. That's still behavior. When we go further down that same road, which is Johnson Street Northeast, the car still just doesn't exude confidence for surrounding traffic. When it makes those like right then left turns, it's just not good behavior. A lot of times people want to pass you on your outside in the dead space. So to avoid conflicts with people like that, the best way to do it is to make a tighter line and stick closer to the middle before initiating your left turn there. So that behavior, unfortunately, is still not there. Hopefully in a future minor release we'll see that come. And we see a little bit of hesitation here at this intersection. That's been there from basically the beginning. Again, the snow is occluding the vision from the driveway, so I can't really see into it. And then I just adjusted the speed a little bit just because it's a little tight here. But yeah, that kind of concludes our drive here. Again, a few disengagements along the way. Obviously, room for improvement, but overall, I would say a good chunk of the confidence that we've seen in version 11, in 11.3.1, is still there in 11.3.2. But potentially maybe a little bit more hesitation so far from my understanding. But good stuff overall. Going to continue to see how 11.3.2 drives, but that kind of concludes this drive. So anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.